We'll bring this meeting to order. This is a regular city council meeting of the City of Ocean Shores. It's November 25th, 2025, and the time is 6 p.m. The meeting is being held at the Ocean Shores Convention Center. The meetings are simulcast and archived on KOSW Radio. Meetings are live streamed with closed captioning and may be accessed on the city website under Council Recordings. The meetings can be viewed on cable Channel 68, Thursdays at 12 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. Do we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Sires?
Here.
Councilmember Taylor?
Here.
Councilmember Klein?
Here.
Councilmember Wills?
Here.
Councilmember Hartman?
Here.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse council members Scott and Griebel.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks. Pledge of Allegiance. Tom, would you like to lead us?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to ask for approval of tonight's meeting agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks. We don't have any ceremonies or proclamations, announcements, board and committee vacancies. We have 2 vacancies on the Planning Commission. No appointments, no other reports tonight. We'll move on to public comment. And public comment to council is intended for communication to the city council regarding general council business or policy not on tonight's agenda. Address comments and questions to the city council body, not an individual member or the city staff. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We request the comments be nice and respectful. This is not a question and answer time, and the council cannot engage in conversation with the public. No person may use the public comment for the purpose of campaign or advertisement. City council will begin the time once the citizen has started their comment. At 2 minutes, you will see a green light, followed by a yellow light indicating 30 seconds remain in the public comment period. A red light will notify the reader that the public comment time has ended. Order of public comments will be individuals attending in person. Second will be individuals attending remotely. The general public comments, whether in person or remotely, will continue in the usual position on the agenda. Public comments for agenda items that were removed will be addressed following the conclusion of general public comments. So who do we have? Scott?
Well, good evening. I was expecting more, I'll be honest, but we only have 2. Fire Chief Brian Ritter, sprinklers.
Council, Mayor, members of the public, I think I stirred the pot a little bit, at least according to social media, when it comes to fire sprinklers, as we were having a previous discussion. But I'm here to address that issue. And as we move forward, I'd like to make it clear that what we are looking at for the future is residential fire sprinklers for new residential and multi-residential buildings only, not existing buildings, not retrofitting your own private homes, things like that. But there's a lot more to discuss as we move forward. As I mentioned, fires are burning hotter and faster than ever before, with smoke being highly toxic and deadly in the short order with the plastics and synthetic household materials and furniture that we have. And the data doesn't lie. Fire sprinklers save lives. They have a 90% life safety save rate from the Washington State Patrol that was posted on June 9th of 2025. I have personally been on fires where I believe fatalities could have been avoided had there been residential fire sprinklers within our city. This will be brought forward by new builds only. During structure fires, we are extremely limited to timely mutual aid from other agencies. So I called Hoquiam Fire today and asked them what they get on a first alarm with Aberdeen. They get 13 firefighters immediately for a structure fire. We're staffed right now with 6, and if 2 are gone, going to Aberdeen to Harbor Regional on a transport, Time is what I'm talking about in public safety and life safety and prevention. That is my job as fire chief. And I'd be remiss to say if I didn't feel like we were doing our job as a city and the fire chief and coming together with some sort of agreement, the city's not going to stop growing. We're going to continually get new builds, and we already have really old structures in our city. We average about 10 to 12 working structure fires a year in our city, and some of them have been fatal. We just had a fatal fire 8-9 months ago off of Chance. Anyway, residential sprinklers not only protect the citizens, they also protect us, the firefighters. And there was a lot of back and forth on social media, but moving forward, I just kind of want to put to bed that this isn't for everybody's house. This will be for new construction and new development in our city as we continue to grow. I did a little research. Bonnie Lake, Camas, DuPont, Kenmore, Mercer Island, Olympia, Redmond, Tukwila, Washougal, and just recently, within the last 2 weeks, Arlington have all adopted the sprinkler code. All these departments have way more resources than we do, and they've invoked the residential sprinkler code. So it's really to save lives. It's comparable to a smoke detector or wearing your seatbelt in a car. Pretty basic. So
That's time.
thank you.
All right, and then Randy Peck, I believe it says public safety.
Randy Peck, Ocean Shores. We just had our first drive-by shooting on Cardinal, only blocks from my house. We know where the drug houses are, on Cardinal, Edgewood, Copalis, and probably a half a dozen or more of other houses. It's time to nip it in the bud. It's time to hire a police officer and assign him to the Grays Harbor County Drug Task Force. We need to take action, and we need their help to implement it, because most of the people that are here know who our officers are. They've been able to, just outside of town, take out a house in Oyhut. That was a drug house. They've been busy in Aberdeen, Hoquiam, and further east in the county. We need to address it now. We don't need to become Seattle, Tacoma, etc., with the zombies and the druggies that are wandering our streets. And they are there, believe me. Those that live in the north and on Rain Street, etc., see them every day. Their bicycles back and forth, in and out of certain houses. We see the car traffic in and out of those houses. It needs to be stopped, and it needs council to take that action and drive that behavior out of the city. Thank you.
City Clerk, were there any comments online for general public comment? All right.
Negative.
All right, thank you. That's it. We'll move on to council liaison reports and committee reports. Start with you, Rich.
I had agenda setting.
All right, Richard.
So I signed warrants. Fresh Waterways met on 25/11, the 10th of November. And what was most telling is that there were 3 representatives from the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they informed the board that about 80% of the grass carp were actually sterile. And that means 20% are breeding grass carp, which is not what we were always been told. And they had a strong recommendation that maybe we change our bow fishing law and have a bow fishing tournament to cut down the carp. You have a question? You can look at my.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm listening, Richard.
What?
I'm listening to you.
Listening, okay. So, and then the other thing is I attended the radio board meeting today, and for me, the most significant thing at that meeting is the HIAC basketball broadcasts start in December. We're fortunate to be one of the few cities in Washington that has a radio station, and the radio station is broadcasting football and basketball games, which is pretty awesome. And then there was also some discussion to address the backup power procedures during power outages. And that's all I have.
All right, thanks. Allison.
I signed warrants. I had a meeting with the mayor, and I attended the Public Safety Committee meeting. We had one officer graduate from the academy. There are 2 vacancies. Chief Logan went through several items that she will be bringing before council, I believe maybe in December, of some items that they need to upgrade and get for our police officers.
All right, thanks. Tom? Use your mic.
Sorry, again. Okay, so I wasn't able to attend the Public Safety Committee meeting, but I did review it, and there are some very positive future things with police department and cameras and stuff like that that we need to talk about, so sounds good.
All right, thanks. Denise?
The Public Works was canceled, so we did not have that. LTAC met on November 3rd, and the recommendations that we're making to council are on the agenda today. The next meeting for LTAC is December 5th, and we're going to be talking about the new reimbursement process that we've instituted.
All right, thanks, Denise. Mayor's report here. December 8th will be the final walkthrough for the city with the medical clinic. So it's just about finished up. And we will be turning that over to the hospital. They've already ordered all their equipment. And so they'll start setting that stuff up. So with any luck here, by the end of the year, we should have a clinic that's up and running. That's what we're shooting for. I wanted to invite everybody to the tree lighting. That'll be out at front here at the Convention Center, and that is Friday, November 28th at 6 p.m. We're going to have some musical entertainment there by Gladys Whitney and Scott Malone, and we also will have the Faith Community Choir to sing there. Santa will be there too, and we'll have cookies and hot chocolate for everybody that comes by. So hopefully the weather holds out well for us, and we'll have a really nice get-together there for the tree lighting. That's all I have. So I'd like to get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, we will recess this regular city council meeting at 6:12. And we will move into the public hearing. This public hearing is before the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to receive comments for or against the 2025-2026 revenues and the 2026 property taxes. And this will be presented by our Finance Director, Sarah Logan.
Good evening. So this is something we do annually with the property taxes in twofold. So the city can levy on the property taxes based on assessed value in Ocean Shores. And then we also have right now what is the EMS levy that's 6 years. So the difference between 25 and 26 for our regular levy is $12,565. So to maximize on that 1%, the addition in our 2026 calendar year would be approximately $12,565. For our EMS regular levy, that would be $4,284 difference from 25 to 26. So for an example, the median household for Ocean Shores, surprisingly, was about $400,000. The difference between 25 and 26 to a $400,000 median household would be about $28.91 for the year, so approximately $2.41 per month. Our assessment went from $2.799 billion to $2.814 billion this year. And that's kind of the ins and outs of it. It's not a huge increase. The assessed value was a lot wider net for 2026. So the increases are modest.
All right, public comment. Do we have anybody that would like to speak on this? Okay, Lillian.
Lillian Broadbent, Ocean Shores, and I just want to encourage all of the council members to vote for this. It is silly not to take our 1%. A number of years ago, in attempt for people to keep their seats, we went several years without taking the 1%. And when we hit rock bottom, we had to take 8%. That hurt everybody, and the 8% was against a lot more money. It's important that we stay on top of that. It's a tiny amount compared to inflation and to cost of services and personnel. Thank you.
Anybody else care to comment? All right, seeing none, I guess we will close this public hearing and reconvene the regular city council meeting at 6:16. All right, so next up is old business, and we have a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, approving the Hyperfiber Ripple Fiber Communication Franchise Agreement. That will be presented by our City Administrator, Scott Anderson, Public Works Director, Ricardo Victoriano, City Attorney, Lisa Marshall, and Hyperfiber Ripple Fiber representatives, Mark Foltz and Mitzi McMahon.
Okay. Kevin and Mitzi, if you want to come take that seat, and maybe Ricky, why don't you take the podium? That will make that a little easier. Sorry, I knew you almost made it there. You were sprinting. Can I confirm that Lisa Marshall's online? I don't know if we'll need her or not, but okay. Let's just go forward with this. This is a second reading. We brought this back to council. There's no real substantive change with one exception, and that was a paragraph that somehow going back and forth got left out, and that is on Section 2, terms of franchise, the period of 15 years from the effective date, that paragraph. But otherwise, it is exactly the same as the agreement we brought forward. And again, this is simply an opportunity to allow Hyperfiber, Ripple Fiber, the right, privilege, and authority to construct, operate, maintain, restore, and work in the public right-of-way. It's a franchise agreement for that purpose, so that we have fiber in the city of Ocean Shores. And with that, I guess, public comment.
All right, do we have public comment? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Jan Hyatt, Ocean Shores. I'm not having read the contract again. I will ask who is here, who will be here to maintain repairs after the installation. Say 2 years down the road, I have a problem with it. And number two, in the contract, during construction, is there a contingency reserve? Say the lines are cut and we have power cut, and we need someone to come out and make the repairs immediately. I don't want to be without power or sewer lines for 2 weeks. So do we have a contingency repair in there, a contract in there with funds that will be able to take that work and finish it immediately? Thank you.
All right, we have any other public comment out there? I'm not seeing. Oh, okay, Lillian, go ahead.
Lillian Broadbent again, and I have expressed my concerns to the folks that are here from, what is it now? Okay. I would like to see us take this very slowly. I personally am always very suspicious of a company that comes in and says, Ocean Shores, we're going to do this for you, and you're going to be the first in the state of Washington. We're a podunk town in the middle of nowhere. And maybe that's what the company is looking for. On the other hand, maybe that's what the company can get. I am concerned, not that there's anything wrong with this company that I can find, although I have found some questions that I had. I was unable to find anyone in Federal Way, including a member of the council, and I was unable to find anyone in Burien, but was aware of it. So obviously, there's a disconnect there between the claim that it will be in Burien and Federal Way. In fact, what I heard tonight is we will be the very, very first. And that concerns me. The other thing that concerns me is the disruption to the right-of-way. I have been the victim of a few inadvertent disruptions to the right-of-way. And where I live, the right-of-way is below the road. And the post office uses that and gets deeper and deeper every year. If this does impact the right-of-way areas, what provision do we have to have those restored or repaired? I've got quite a bit of right-of-way out in front of my house, and some of it's soggy and some of it's solid. And where people choose to dig makes a real big difference. So anyway, I would just urge caution. And if that means delaying this a little bit, I don't have any problem with it. But I hope that each and every one of you are totally satisfied that this is the right thing to do going forward. I'm not sure it's not, but I would prefer that we go forward with caution. Thank you.
Any other comments out there in the crowd? Not seeing any. We'll go to council. Go ahead, Allison.
I would like the questions that Mrs. Hyatt had. Who will be around down the road locally if there's a problem?
Good evening. So the answer to that specific question, we will have, during the construction process on the right-of-way, we will have a construction manager that's here all the time, as well as construction folks that are our employees that will be here overseeing this thing. We will be using a third-party contractor that's going to be vetted by Public Works, and as we submit the permits in, all that's listed on that permit who's doing that work. I don't anticipate there's going to be any problems as far as not being able to get a hold of anybody. I think I might have told you guys last time when I was here that I am relocating to the state of Washington. That's how important the state is to us as far as rebuilding. There was a couple other questions that I'd like to address too, is that we are in 14 states throughout the country. We initially started in North Carolina at the Outer Banks, which is pretty typical to the way Ocean Shores is as far as right on the coast. Have grown that area in North Carolina, down in South Carolina. We are in Massachusetts, Illinois, Florida, Arkansas, Colorado, Washington, and we're pursuing 4 other states currently right now. And when I say pursuing 4 other states, we're not going after the large metropolitan areas. We like to focus more on the communities that have been neglected. There's a lot of communities out there that, a lot of money has gone in from a BEAD perspective with the state, with the federal government going to the state to offset some of those areas that have been neglected, underserved, or unserved as far as internet service goes. So Ocean Shores is a perfect logical step for us to come in. We are doing Ocean Shores simultaneously as we work initially in Federal Way, City of Kent, and King County. We just, actually in the beginning of December, we will finalize our franchise agreements with Vancouver. So we're in a lot of different areas within the state of Washington. And yes, Ocean Shores will likely be our first, we'll probably have our first customer in Washington, but that doesn't mean it's our first customer as a company.
All right, Richard.
I'd like to make a couple of comments more than ask a question. So first, I think that competition is a great thing for the public. So I'm all in favor of competition. And second, after this company presented last council meeting, I did some investigating, and I've learned that the way that they don't trench this ditch, that they have a drill that drills parallel to the road surface. And the drill is steerable. And I don't understand the technology. I don't need to understand the technology. But they've surveyed the ground, and they know what things are in the ground where they're going to drill this pipe. Once the pipe is drilled, then they thread the hyperfiber cable through it. So there's almost no chance of doing any damage to the existing infrastructure. If they do hit an obstruction, the guy operating the drill, he can sense that. And again, I don't understand the technology. I don't need to. But he can sense that. And if they need to go and hand dig to find that obstruction, they do that. And then they either steer over or under that obstruction. And again, almost no chance for damage to our existing infrastructure. So I'm all for it. And I just wanted it to, because so many of the public have voiced concerns, I wanted to explain what I barely know about that technology. Thank you.
All right, Denise.
Yeah, I agree with Richard in terms of competition. I think it's important for the city that our residents have more than one option when they're looking at internet. I know some of them are using cellular now as well as satellite. But I did have a question. You mentioned that the first customer may be here. What do you already have contracts with places like Kent, Burien, Federal Way?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we have franchise agreements. And Betsy, you probably know them better than I do.
We've got franchise agreements in Federal Way. We've got Kent. Auburn is Auburn is in process right now. The signed document is going to the city. So we've just been really, focusing on Washington and working with the jurisdictions. And I'll say, working with Ocean Shores, it's exciting to think about having potentially a first customer here because the process, it's different everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. And so the process here, has been pretty pleasant to go through and just collaborative. And, with the questions we've had, it's been a good back and forth with us. So there's a lot of that. Each community is different. Some places are in the biennium and it takes a long time to have time to look at franchise agreements. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Richard?
I would like to make a motion to approve the request of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, approving the Hyperfiber Ripple Fiber Telecommunications franchise agreement.
Second.
Right, we have a second. All in favor? Okay. All right, can you do a roll call?
Councilmember Sires.
Yes.
Councilmember Sires is a yes. Councilmember Taylor.
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor is a yes. Councilmember Klein.
Yes.
Councilmember Klein is a yes. Councilmember Wills.
Yes.
Councilmember Wills is a yes. Councilmember Hartman.
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman is a yes. That's 5 yeses. It passes.
Right, thank you. I didn't see one of the hands apparently. So, all right, well, thank you. Let's move on to new business. We've got an ordinance for the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, amending the 2025-2026 budget ordinance number 1127, and that is going to be presented by our Finance Director, Sarah Logan.
So in past years, we have liked to do these budget amendments if the occasion calls for it quarterly. But as we've talked about through this 2025 calendar year, we really honed in on that cost allocation correction and our budget correction. And so we opted to wait until the end of the year to do this budget amendment. And this one strictly, as you will see, is just cleaning up all of the things that the council approved throughout the year. So it's the grants that we got revenue for where we needed to up the revenue and up the expense side, and then different positions that the city council has approved. I mean, when you put it all on paper, it was kind of nice to see all those grants pile up and that be a nice problem to have. Again, this is just one piece of the puzzle. All of you received your financials today, which this budget amendment reflects all the journal entries that had to be made to correct that cost allocation. So you saw your enterprise funds go up and your general fund go down because we won't need the money for the general fund and we won't need the money from the enterprise funds in its capacity that was being done before utilizing depreciation. What we'll focus on after this budget amendment is approved, again, is our year-end journal entries that we still need to do. But also we'll go into 2026 to complete this budget project. So our next phase of our budget project, as we've discussed, is our financial practices that the Finance Committee will be working on. With those financial practices is where we're going to really pin down so the next person like me doesn't have to guess what all of these different funds should be getting. So we're going to reevaluate our contingency fund. We're going to reevaluate our capital funds for our enterprises. We're going to look at reserves for our streets, and we're going to make clear and conscious decisions now that we've cleaned up the cost allocation on where those funds should go, how often they should go, what our targets will be, and that's our 2026 project. So that when we go into our, I'm hoping you'll approve, hint, hint, 2027 annual budget, we are cleaned up and everything makes sense. We can articulate what we're doing with our cost allocation. We're not taking more money than we should, which then in fact increases rates. So this is kind of our year-end clean up your checkbook of all the things that you've approved this year. It gives you a year-end total balance, again, which includes the journal entries that were entered already for the cost allocation project. And it puts the general fund ending at 2.68. And again, that was our target because our target's 2.5. The general fund will no longer need to, or you won't see it, except for maybe after property tax installment payments at that 4 million, 4.5 million, because we're not taking excess out of those enterprise funds.
All right, thanks. Public comment. Seeing none. We've got Dawn online, right? Okay.
Mute. Yeah, can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you. I have a couple of comments. At the last council meeting, during the discussion of the city's financial best practices and policies, which I think Sarah alluded to here, I explained that starting in 2017, there was an automatic annual transfer out of the general fund to the council contingency fund. That's your fund, fund number 2 of $35,000 per year. And this was approved by the council in 2016 to use the savings resulting from refinancing of the fire station bonds. And it was done every year, and then suddenly, mysteriously, without anybody telling the council, starting in 2023, that $35,000 a year transfer, or as it turned out to be then and now $70,000 per biennium, just disappeared. And no one told the council that what they voted on and approved was taken away. Although tactically you approved it by approving the budget, unknowing that you had been screwed in effect out of the $35,000, and I think that's a very important thing. So I think you ought to put that back in, and actually, there's no reason you shouldn't do that tonight. You should amend the budget amendment to make that correction, and it's certainly well within the $2.5 million cap or objective that was discussed by Sarah. So I'd suggest that you do that tonight and get done it's your fund, and I don't know why anybody doesn't care about it. That you want to have that money there for your council use. It's your fund, and it's been used before. In fact, at one time, I believe it actually repaired the Overlake Bridge many years ago. My second comment is although Sarah says it's in there, I see nothing in this budget amendment that has anything to do with cost allocations. There's not a single line item anywhere in the uses, which is where the cost allocation comes from. That's where it goes out of to the general fund. There's no line item in there that modifies anything in the budget on cost allocation. So please explain to me how in this budget amendment all these cost allocation repairs or objectives that seem to be so important to start next year are there. They're just not there. And please show me in the budget amendment on the page. Take the page involving uses. That's on. It's in the budget amendment. Show me there where the cost allocations are being adjusted. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Right, that's all we have for public comment. Council? Yes, Richard?
So I think that Mr. Williams' comments were valid, and I would invite Sarah to comment on and make us more educated on the subject.
So to Mr. Williams' point, and kind of what my point was for 2026, that was always the plan for contingencies. There's a percentage that the council can put in it, and at the time that it was approved, long before, I'm not the one that removed it, the $35,000 was what the council had agreed upon. The council can absolutely at any time opt to put more money in there as long as we don't max out, or we can max out. We can't go past a certain percentage. And the cost allocation was approved by request for us to backdate and re-enter everything from January to September. So there is no budget amendment for that portion. That wouldn't qualify for a budget amendment. We already had approved budget for all of these things. We backed them out and allocated them as they should have been. You will see, and council may have seen between getting off of work and coming here, your financials do show those transfers changing and exactly what changing. And if citizens were to look at those financials, you're going to see all the changes we made because it specifically says cost allocation. So it was very clear and concise. We didn't do weird acronyms or like random letters. It just says cost allocation. So again, those things will all clear up at the year-end tie-out that we do every year that gets us ready for January. They weren't appropriate for the budget amendment.
Thank you. Yes, Rich?
In regards to one of his comments about the contingency fund, am I the only one that remembers we at council, and Frank, you were part of it, we specifically knew that we weren't adding to it. We realized that the contingency fund had a lot of restrictions on how you could withdraw money, and we made choices to put our limited funds in other accounts, i.e. capital improvement fund, those types of things. So he used certain words that I won't repeat, but we knew that we weren't doing it because of the restrictions on that fund, and we had higher priorities.
Absolutely. It was the council's discussion during the capital facilities plan, and I kind of actually begged for us not to put that money in there because it wouldn't be able to be utilized. It could, but it would take time and restrictions, and that money, when you're putting it aside, should really be for things like we can't make payroll, or a bridge has collapsed and we don't have general fund money for it, or something like that. That's why it's restricted savings account to do something that might come up and we are really in a bad position. Should money be going into it? Absolutely. I mean, it would be ridiculous to say it shouldn't. Again, as we talked with the finance committee, as we went through and found all these different things with the fire department and the contingency fund that had kind of waned themselves out and been given council a surplus to work with, that's what we're going to attempt to fix in 2026. You are welcome to add anything you want to this budget amendment. My suggestion would be that's going to be Finance Committee's recommendation. January, February, March, April, May is really making those impacts to those accounts.
Right, we got any other questions? Yes, Richard?
So without having enough time to actually analyze, what I'm hearing is you think that putting that 35,000 back into the contingency fund makes sense from where you sit as a finance director? Or I have the perception that now that we're upping this to a legal 2.5 million in the general fund, that we've actually got that base covered. So I'm a little bit confused. Can you help unconfuse me?
The council approves a limit of where they want to go with their general fund. The council has opted verbally to be above 2.5. Right now, your financial practices and what has been approved says 2 million. A resolution is just a guideline. You can always go below that if the city was to fall on hard times or something came up. But you should always be putting a little bit away. And so that's the optics of the contingency fund, is that is like a constant, we don't even think about it, we just throw $35,000 in it every year, and we still try and keep it our 2.5.
Make it easy for my tired brain. Your experience suggests that putting the 35,000 into a contingency fund is a motion that would benefit the city tonight. I'm asking. I'm based on your knowledge and experience.
I think that it would be most appropriate and more transparent than pulling an offshoot motion to put money away in a contingency fund to allow the finance committee to do due diligence and bring an actual recommendation for reserve accounts across Ocean Shores financials to a council meeting in 2026.
Yes, Denise?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. I think this is something, rather than making any kind of motion tonight, that the Finance Committee needs to analyze. I, for example, don't know what all the restrictions would be for that fund. What Rich said earlier about the fact that a previous council had moved monies to more appropriate accounts. I think all of that needs to be looked at before we do anything with this account.
All right, thanks. Anybody else? Yes, Richard?
So if there are no other council comments, I would like to make a motion to approve the ordinance of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, amending 2025-2026 budget, ordinance number 1127.
Second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Thank you. All right, next up, we have an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, fixing the amount of the ad valorem property tax levy necessary for a fiscal year 2026, providing for servability and establishing an effective date, presented by our Finance Director, Sarah Logan.
So for anybody that got confused by the amount of words that they make you articulate just to say ordinance, this goes back to our public hearing that we had at the beginning of the council meeting, speaks to the property tax that we are able to levy against up to 1% for our property tax on assessments, and then also our 6-year EMS levy. I expressed under the public hearing time period, the difference in a median household of $400,000 would be about $2.41 per month for both of these.
Right, thank you. Public comment? Seeing none, council. Yes, Richard.
I don't know why anybody else isn't eager to jump up here and approve this, but I'm going to make a motion to approve the resolution of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, authorizing the city to re-levy to recover the lost tax revenues as provided in Substitute Senate Bill, am I on the wrong one? I'm sorry. an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, fixing the amount of the ad valorem property tax levy necessary for fiscal year 2026, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. All right, now, next up, we have a resolution of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, authorizing the city to re-levy to recover lost tax revenues as provided in the substitute Senate Bill 5705, amending RCW 84.69.180 for 2026, presented by Sarah Logan.
So each year in very end of October, early November, how we get our property tax numbers and our EMS numbers are based on estimates that the county releases. The county then, after the new year, does a complete and totality estimate, or not estimate, on their assessed values. And if there's any little bits that took you up to that 1%, so if we didn't approve the 1%, we wouldn't be able to go and get these dollars either. You are able, under the Senate bill that Mayor Elduin expressed, to get those dollars. So for two of our different levies that we have, we are able on one for basic property tax to get an additional $11,000 and $11,036.13 in 2026. And there is another one for the EMS, for $2,919.77. So what that means is their estimate versus the actual assessment at 1% would have afforded us this extra, and we have the ability to obtain that under this re-levy resolution.
All right, thanks. We have any public comment? Seeing none, council? Yes, Allison?
Okay, I will go ahead and make a motion to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, authorizing the city to re-levy to recover lost tax revenues as provided for in substitute Senate Bill 5705, amending RCW 84.69.180 for 2026.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Unanimous. Next up, we have a request to the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to accept the Grays Harbor Community Foundation Grant Award, and that is presented by our Grant and Project Management Assistant, Tim Hiles, and Project Manager, Becky Leach.
Thank you. The City of Ocean Shores applied for a grant through the Grays Harbor Community Foundation and has subsequently been awarded $30,000. This grant will allow the city to make upgrades to North Bay Park, such as adding height to the current backstop, installing bullpens with fencing. In addition, these funds will allow much needed plastic fence topper to be installed on the entire outfield fence line. These funds will give North Bay Park an overall safer environment for those using it, while adding aesthetic value to yet another park in Ocean Shores that is used frequently by the community. A budget amendment is needed to move these funds from the revenue code to the expense code so that we may spend it.
All right, thanks. Any public comment? All right, council. Yes, Richard.
This is a hard decision. Do I accept free money? So I would like to make sure I'm on the right one. I'd like to make a motion to approve the request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to accept the Grays Harbor Community Foundation Grant Award.
Second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Unanimous. All right. Next up, we have a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, approving the purchase of Granicus software for short-term rental monitoring and enforcement. And that's presented by Finance Director Sarah Logan.
I'm going to have to take it up with the city clerk that I had to get up and come back. I actually did that mistake. So that was... All right. So bear with me because it was a few months ago that you all approved our new short-term rental compliances for the City of Ocean Shores, which were outdated or not in the code at all. That was part one. Part two was onboarding a company and their software called Granicus that's utilized throughout Washington State by several different municipalities. And what they work with the municipalities on is compliance. So they monitor all of the VRBOs, Airbnbs, ones that I've never even actually heard of, like Flipkey and Booking.com. So they monitor all of these and they send them compliance letters. They give code enforcement the tools that they need to go in and make these places compliant. So in October of 2023, which I recognize was a long time ago, they started looking at our town and talking with our then B&O tax officer. And by 2024, they had approximately only 150 registered Airbnbs in B1 and B2 zones, which for anybody that doesn't know, those are the places that you're allowed to have Airbnbs. When they did their assessment in our residential zones where they are not allowed to be, there was about 500 operating without appropriate business license, so on and so forth. But bigger story is they're not supposed to be operating at all. And then there were several in the B1B zones that were operating, even though they could operate, but without business licenses, paying their B&O tax, paying these do transient rental tax. So your LTAC, that's a percentage that goes towards that. So after everything's said and done and what is in the agenda bill tonight is in about 12-month period, we would be at about a 70% compliance rate once the program's set in. This is phase 2 because phase 3 will be all of the paperwork because we talked about the paperwork that goes with the ordinance. So we did the ordinance, we get the company, then we put all the paperwork into process and the company helps us to maintain that we are operating legal Airbnbs in legal areas in Ocean Shores and that, that is shown in our B&O taxes and our LTAC taxes, or our LTAC. This comes to about $24,000 for the annual payment, with exception of about $1,000 that's a little bit more to get it onboarded. I do think that based on what they're seeing compliance-wise, it's not going to take much for us to make up those things. We also have had in the past where people are operating these Airbnbs in residential zones and then they challenge the court system or our officer or code enforcement because there's not really any penalty. And now we've put a penalty, but if we can't get compliance efforts in place, those penalties are worth nothing. So we said we'd work on this software program. We are at a point in my department and working with other departments where we can onboard this and feel comfortable in our time management. So we thought we'd bring it forward. This is also included if the council chooses not to approve this. This was also in your budget amendment. So everything for tonight, Tim's grant that he received, all those things are in there that if approved tonight, they'd be in there. If not approved, they'd be removed.
All right, thanks. Any comments out in the crowd? No public comment? All right, council. Oh, okay, we got Don Williams online.
Yeah, are you okay?
Hang on just a second.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Don.
Yeah, I think Sarah answered all my questions. It really was compliance rate 70% sounds great. And this answers the question that I had is what was the next step after all the things the council did a few months ago. So thank you very much, Sarah, for answering those. And I certainly recommend that the council pass this. Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, Denise.
Yeah, I just wanted to add when I attended the Association of Washington conference this year with Richard, I did spend some time talking with other people on LTAC, and everyone agreed that the compliance was an issue, especially in cities that had recreation like ours do. And the consensus was really that it was critical to hire a company like Granicus, which seemed to be a popular one, in order to work on compliance and income.
All right, yes, Richard.
So a comment rather than a question. If the Airbnb type industry did the honorable thing and gave the city a report of all of their clients who are operating Airbnb type industries or facilities, then we wouldn't need to do this, but they don't. And so, as Denise said, I was also at that AWC conference, and I had an opportunity to spend about 30 minutes with another vendor who had very similar software. And it was just downright impressive at how thoroughly they're able to go through the community and discover all of those people that are violating the law. And if we had staff do that, we would have to have a single person on staff, probably that would be their entire job, is just gleaning through the advertisements to find out who's cheating. I think this is a great move.
All right, thanks. Any other comments? Yes, Allison.
Okay, I would go ahead and like to make a motion to approve a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, approving the purchase of Granicus software for short-term rental, monitoring, and enforcement.
Second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Thank you. All right, next we've got a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to approve the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee recommendations for the use of lodging taxes for 2026. And this will be presented by the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee Chair, Denise Sayers.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, you have, as well as the public, you have the requests and awards on your paper there. The first thing I'd like to do is thank each of the members of the LTAC committee and call them out for all the work they've done. And that was Shannon Rubin, Eugene Kim as the representing collectors of LTAC, and then Daryl Prowse and George Lee representing the users of LTAC. The applications themselves were first published on October 9th for the LTAC meeting, and in the following LTAC meetings, we went through them thoroughly. Also want to thank Sarah Logan and especially Nicole Birch for working on a new application as well as a evaluation form. So all of the applicants were evaluated using the 12 criteria in the new application packet. So I will go through these pretty quickly, concentrating on the ones where we adjusted their request, adjusted the reward from their request. The first one, however, was the Convention Center, and we awarded their full amount. The majority of their request was for the three big festivals each year, the Hog Wild, Razor Clam, Sand and Sawdust. We did add, the committee added $63,000, $500 in reserves for unexpected expenses. So that way, if you look at the resolution that the council passed, Resolution 838, you'll see that the Convention Center is one of our priorities, and we added that money in for unexpected expenses as a reserve. Also, the Convention Center actually requested $55,000 less than they did in 2025 due to the increased income from those festivals. We gave the full amount to Beachcombers Expo. They were asking for 50% of their budget, and that's the float release, their marketing, and assistance in convention center. A new request, a new event, was the Dark and Stormy Nights Film Festival. They requested, we gave them their full amount. This was in the shoulder season, and if you look at the LTAC priorities, they are for the shoulder and the off-season. This was for October. It is a horror theme short film festival. They only asked for 22% of their revised budget, and they provided an extremely detailed marketing plan. Grays Harbor Youth Athletics has been an annual event. We gave them the full amount. They're unique in bringing the NFL players to town, and they have proven attendance with 40% overnight stays. We did deny the Master Gardeners Dig Shores project. They requested $30,000. However, their request was for capital funding to construct a garden, and that included the excavation, the fencing, the arbor, the garden beds, and under LTAC, capital is only allowed for facilities owned or operated by a municipality or a public facilities district. So they simply did not meet the criteria. However, the Master Gardeners did have a second request, and that was for the garden tour. We awarded a partial amount to them, and that would be towards their advertising and marketing, which again it aligns with LTAC and bringing people to town. Even though the garden tour is only a single day, they have a proven record of having followers from 4 counties outside of Grays Harbor. That partial amount was for advertising and marketing. On LTAC, we did not feel that we should pay for their posters and their booklets. North Beach Independent Media, their New Year's Eve bash. Again, that is in the off-season, which is an LTAC priority, obviously in December. And last year, they were awarded a partial amount. Obviously, that event has not taken place yet, since it is for New Year's Eve. But with a 3-day weekend in 2026 and an increased amount for marketing, we believe that we can pull more people into Ocean Shores. North Beach Community TV, we gave them the full amount to increase their streaming platforms. As many of you know, a lot of people are no longer using broadcast TV, and this will allow them to add 4 additional streaming services, and they were only asking for 10% of their total budget. The Ocean Shores Hospitality Collaborative, their request was denied. The committee felt that their program of having 12 workshops throughout the year to train staff in hospitality was actually a very good idea. However, we didn't feel that the training program as it was presented actually could give us figures as to how they were increasing the number of travelers in either days or overnight stays. So what the committee would like to do is to encourage them to come back next spring with a revamped pilot program. So ultimately, training could indeed add to people coming into town, but the way the program was presented, there was no data to show that. The Coastal Interpretive Center, we gave a partial award to, and that was for $45,000. They actually asked for over $98,000, which was a significant increase from last year. It was actually over 64% increase from what they got last year. What we gave them covers collections, outreach, communication, and marketing. What we did not feel we could pay for were their property taxes, their copier, their supplies, utilities, their sale merchandise, and their salaries. We felt that those were cost of doing business. The North Beach Artist Guild's Art in Action, if anyone has looked at the applications, and I hope you have, and many of these we have interviewed. So if you have questions on any of them, we did interview about half. It said that they were requesting monthly workshops, but it turns out that they were only requesting 3 workshops of 2-day, 3 2-day events, and those were in June, August, and October. Since June and August are our peak seasons and visitors are already here, the committee decided to give them 1/3 of their request to help them fund the October, which would make it the shoulder season. Ocean Shores Food Bank, their corgis on the beach. Amazingly, 89% of the attendees, assuming that's the pet parents and the corgis themselves, came from outside Grays Harbor, with 37 staying in hotels. We awarded them their full amount, which was only 20% of their budget. And the Ocean Shores Marketing Coalition, their request for $245,019 was denied. The committee commended them on the work they've done for the past several years, funded under LTAC. And they did provide website and social media analytics, but with those analytics, they did not provide any return on investment. They used softer metrics like engagements, impressions, and sentiments, but they could not provide any cost per engagement, impression, or view. The 2 hotel members on the committee had concerns over the inclusiveness of the promotion. They felt that it didn't extend equally beyond coalition members. And while the Book Direct hotels was something that we all thought was a notable addition, it did not seem to be fully functioning. The committee is going to request that the Ocean Shores Convention Center do look into that. Also, when compared to what the Ocean Shores Convention Center is spending on marketing and what the city has done with its marketing efforts, compared to the coalition request, the committee did not feel that their request was cost effective. The other 2 reasons for denying it was that the coalition stated that it could not be self-supporting without relying on businesses or advertising, and that it stated it could only sustain itself by raising LTAC revenue. It also requested 100% of its budget. It was the only group that requested 100%, and our goal is to have, unless it is a new business, or I should say new event, our goal is really to not have LTAC pay for more than 50%. And they did not offer any other funding grants or in-kind contributions. So again, thanks to all of the committee. So the council has the option now of agreeing with the presentation, the awards that LTAC is recommending. If the council does require changes to any of that, we can hold tonight's vote, and those requested changes will need to go back to the LTAC committee. I'm not sure we've done this before, but if changes are needed, they need to go back to the LTAC committee for review, and that's per RCW 67.28.1817. So I know that's a lot of information, but I wanted to give you a background for how we made decisions. We met 3 times, interviewed the applicants, and those are our recommendations. Any questions?
All right, thanks. Public comment? Not seeing any. We got Don online, right? Hang on a second, Don. Are you there? Go ahead.
Yes, okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Denise did an excellent job reviewing. I was with other people. Actually there was 4 meetings, three were the ones with a lot of action taken. And I thought Denise did a good summary. And what was really interesting, this was probably the most comprehensive LTAC committee that I've been involved in, and it's been many, many years. All I can say is that every member read and fully understood the applications and understood the objectives of the LTAC, both in the convention center utilization and the other things involved, and they did an excellent job. And just to confirm what Denise said, I don't recall ever any LTAC recommendation going back to the LTAC to be reviewed and coming back the loop around back to the council. So I would recommend that you all approve these. They did a thorough job, and every member participated much more than I've seen in the past, and it was really a great evaluation. So thank you, Denise, and everybody else. And like I said, I recommend that you vote these in tonight. Thank you.
All right, council, any questions or comments? Yes, Richard?
I have one question, and as I look at the right-hand column, if I understand correctly, if we award everything that the LTAC committee has recommended, we're leaving about 1.1 million approximate still on the table for the spring distribution. Am I understanding correctly? I'm looking at 1924343 up at the top of the page, and then 827,750 at the bottom of the page.
I think on that right column, Richard, if you go to the bottom, it's 1.225.
And I believe that. I just ballparked them without actually doing math. Oh, I see. Oh. Yeah. I also iterate what Don Williams said. Fantastic job. I zoomed in on a couple of the meetings, and fantastic job. Thank you.
Yes, so you're right. We will open it up again in the spring.
Any other comments or questions? Yes, Rich?
So Denise, I have a question about the advertising portion of it. We know that the city partnered with Tourism Grays Harbor, with the county, to do some advertising, and I'm not going to, I can't really back up what the marketing coalition did or didn't do, but I do feel very strongly that our city needs promotion, that we need advertising. And with the metrics that the committee has come up with, where someone has to be self-funding, it's impossible to self-fund if you're advertising Ocean Shores to get tourists in. Just very similar to Tourism Grays Harbor. They take the LTAC funds, and Mike Bruner spent it in many different ways, mostly in streaming, whether it's normal television ads or partnering with local TV shows or streaming videos. That's not, you can't get, they don't generate revenue. They're literally 100% expense to get visitors to visit us, to then hopefully get businesses and hotels full. If that's a decision for LTAC, and again, we're not picking on the marketing coalition, but then the city can't be in a position. If all of a sudden we have this brilliant marketer that actually knows marketing and they work for the city, we then can't push LTAC funds that direction either, because it doesn't fit what you've just said, which is they've got to generate 50% of the money to spend. So how do you work through that? What's the thought process?
Well, first of all, you don't have to generate 50%. That is, we don't have that written down anywhere. I said that was simply one of the things that the committee was looking at. And I think we need to bring this into, we are not talking, the committee, our job was not to decide how the city markets or how we market Ocean Shores. What we were looking at were the actual applications and how we felt about the applications. And I know destination marketing is very difficult, but one of the, in terms of what the cost is and what the return is, however, we had two people on the committee who have worked in social media before, and there really are metrics that you can use in trying to get a return on investment. So if the Marketing Coalition would like to come back again, we don't discourage anybody from resubmitting if they have been denied this time, but we do feel we need some better metrics for judging the applications.
Right, any other questions, comments? Yes, Richard?
So I agree with everything that Rich Hartman said, and so I'm just slightly off subject. I look forward to the council having a marketing discussion next year, 2026, but that's not tonight's discussion. My question, Denise, is are you asking us to approve this as is, or do you want to go line by line? I personally like everything that I see, but I'm only one of the 5 of us that are here.
My understanding is that we approve it as a whole. Nicole, would you like to comment on that? That's my understanding.
That's what's been done historically, from my understanding.
Yeah, that's the way it's gone in the past. Yes, Allison?
Okay, so I would like to go ahead and make a motion to approve a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to approve the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee recommendation for use of lodging taxes for 2026.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Thank you. Great job on that, Denise. All right, next up we have a request for the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington to adjust contractual terms with North Beach TV, Community TV, for Ocean Shores marketing and promotional materials. This will be presented by our City Administrator, Scott Anderson, and North Beach TV Director of Operations, Daryl Prowse.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to begin this. I didn't know, Daryl, if you're going to be able to multitask or not, or if you had to stay back there. So I am prepared to answer any questions, but there may be questions on North Beach TV and your internal operations. That's the only reason I really need you here. So let me, I'll start by saying this is actually a very, very small tweak to an agreement we already have. It's an adjustment, an amendment that allows us to continue to use North Beach TV. We already paid them for videotaping our meetings. We have a contract with them, but the contract is worded in such a way that it's not entirely clear that the $180 an hour we give them, that we can use it for other things. This relates entirely to our marketing discussion, which I think we are going to have as a city. I think that is very, very important. But what this allows me to do is it allows us to I can go to Daryl, and I've been taking over sort of the creative content for marketing for the city. That doesn't mean I'm an expert in any way on return on investment or ad share or demographics, but just in kind of writing scripts and giving them, and that's what we've been doing with Evening Magazine. That's what we've been doing with Seattle Refined, and we still have some in the hopper that we're going to be making. But one of the things that they always ask is, do we have content that's already in the can that we can use? And here's the important point of this. We can get content. If we bring in an outside person to film this, it's normally very, very expensive, and they want to retain the rights to it. So it changes how we can distribute it and how we can use it. This is an ideal solution. We can use North Beach Community TV. We pay them to go film things like, I know we had the Sasquatch Festival. We have our events. We had, Celtic Music Fest. We can pay them to do that so that we have footage that's already available to the convention center to put online, that I have it for, anytime TV shows we do, that we can turn it over to the county. And we don't have to go through a legal process to get that. It's extremely high quality. It's cheaper than anywhere else we would go to get it, and we retain the legal rights to it. So I see it as something that is an absolute win for the community. We're probably never going to spend more than $5,000 in a single year ever doing this, but it allows the city to have a digital archive of anything that we might want to market, or if we bring in a professional marketing company later on, that we can use that material and keep it. So I'm just asking for an agreement to allow us to take that $180 we pay them for additional work related to this and allow them to film other events and festivals throughout the city, or any kind of interviews we want to do with local businesses to help promote and market the city of Ocean Shores.
All right. Any public comment? Seeing none. Council? Yes, Richard?
So, Daryl, I have one question. I met with Daryl a few weeks ago at the TV studio. You told me in gigabytes how much digital media you have on hand. Would you remind me what that figure is off the top of your head? 8 terabytes.
8 terabytes.
And do you have a feel for how many gigabytes is a 3-minute video?
Oh, it's next to nothing. That's real small. I mean, at the 8 terabytes, I've got 450 episodes of creature features that's on there. So, I mean, and then there's lots of extra space. So we're looking, what I would do is I've purchased a 4 terabyte hard drive to take the video that we shoot, because it's too big to put it in email. It's too big to pretty much send, but then I can give it to Scott, give it to the city, and then you've got camera footage that you can use of, the entrance to Ocean Shores, or you got just some generic shots of the ocean and other things that you may get a request for. It's not for us to go out and just willy-nilly go out and grab stuff. It's whatever it is that you want.
All right. Denise?
I just wanted to say I totally support this. I think it's absolutely critical that we maintain ownership of the digital rights.
All right, thanks. Allison?
So I would like to go ahead and make a motion to approve a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to adjust contractual terms with North Beach Community TV for Ocean Shores marketing and promotional materials.
Second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Thank you. All right, so we have no discussions, but we do have an executive session, and we will move on to the next order of business, which is the executive session. We will begin the executive session at 7:21. All right, there's been a request for how about 7:28? That would give you 6 minutes. All right. We'll go into executive session, and at 7:26, we'll take a short break. And council will probably be in there for 20 minutes, I would assume. I'll get to that. Moving my way down the list here. Okay. Executive session will be the portion of the meeting for the governing body to review negotiations on the performance of publicly bid contracts when public knowledge regarding such consideration would cause likelihood of increased costs. That's RCW 42.30.1101D. And we anticipate coming back at 7:46.
Council has extended executive session by 10 minutes.
All right, we'll reconvene the meeting here, and we're done with executive session. So next we go on to Agenda Review Committee, which will be tomorrow at 9 a.m., November 26th, and that'll be Council Members Scott, Taylor, and Klein. And next we have Good of the Order, so I'll start at the other end. Denise?
Well, I just want to wish a happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and I hope they join us for the tree lighting. And during these trying times, I'd also like to say thank you with appreciation for the organizations in town that are helping their neighbors feed people. I know the lines were long at Ocean Shores Food Bank today for their holiday drive-through. Shores Fellowship Church is also giving out food as well as the table. So with appreciation to all of those who are helping our neighbors in need during these past few weeks of trying times.
Tom?
I just want to remind people that 115 might look like it's a good, safe road, but they've had, 3 accidents on that road in the last 2 weeks, and 2 pretty serious, so slow it down, don't speed, especially with the rain.
Right, Allison.
I just want to thank all the businesses here in town that are doing collections for our local food bank. They are being hit with really hard times right now, and their numbers just keep going up and up and up. So for all the businesses and the groups collecting food, not only for the people, but for their pets. Thank you.
So,
Richard.
I also wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And I want to give a big shout out to Dean Sires and all of the ILTAC committee. Fantastic job. And, I don't think there's no way that too much could be said for the effort and productivity. And I also want to give a shout out again to Sarah and Shantae for all of the work that you did with all of the archiving all of those unused accounts. That was a huge job, and it is going to make 2026 finances so much easier to understand. So thank you. And that's all I've got.
Rich?
I also want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and remind everybody that Saturday is the second round of the Pac-2 championship. I expect the Beavers to prevail, Mr. Proust. Have a great Thanksgiving.
I'm not going to comment on that last comment. Can I get an adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we're adjourned.
This has been a live presentation of North Beach TV. We now return you to our regular programming. Already in progress.